Hello and welcome to another episode of DCU Daily. So today we have a couple DC news, nothing major, but we do in fact have some more release dates for the upcoming Superman, the Christopher Reeve story documentary. We were talking about that yesterday and how we got a bunch of release dates internationally. Well, we got a few more dates, so for any international viewers, maybe you can, pay attention, tune into that. So we have that for you today. And then we got something in another Superman related thing. We do have something about Superman and Lois. Well, they got something happened with the release date. So, get to stay tuned for that. And then eventually we will get into our Kite-Man episode. And hopefully more people can tune into that because we all know how much you really love Kite. I know you guys don't want to claim how much you love Kite-Man, but we know how much you really love Kite-Man. So with all of that and more, I have Bridget to join me today. Bridget, how are you doing today?
Hey, John, I'm doing okay. It's end of August, end of summer, and I'm getting ready for September. It's just really busy this time of year. How about you?
I'm doing great. Now, I'm happy that, fall is now coming upon us because I'm a fall boy. I love fall, apples
Mm.
and pumpkins and Halloween and,
Yes,
spooky
yeah,
things. That's my go-to, as you can
yes.
probably tell from my giant horror poster in the background.
Oh,
But yes, but enough dilly-dallying. First things first, we want to talk about Superman. Now, this has nothing to do with the character, kind of. It does have everything to do with Christopher Reeve. Now, we did get a bit of more release dates. Now, we were talking about how yesterday, I believe, we were talking about how Italy, France, UK, and Ireland, they had a couple release dates spanning from September to November. And we wanted to, uh, touch upon that because I don't think we get a ton of international viewers on the Oh So Curious or DCU Daily shows, but we would still like to, touch upon that because this
of course.
is, a very inspiring story, not just for us American viewers, but for everyone about how this man who didn't believe he was a superhero, he just played one, actually really, in fact, did become a true superhero in everything but power because even though when he was stripped away of everything, he really became far beyond than what the confines of his body became. And with
Mhm.
that, we got a few more release dates. We got, I don't know if you could see, I might have to zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see. But we got, I believe, Italy, France, UK, and Ireland, and a couple others. But this time we have Canada. They are getting September
Mm.
21st. Spain, Australia, New Zealand, and Germany, they're October 10th. Philippines, October 16th. Brazil, October 17th. And then Poland for November 8th. So if anybody is watching from those territories and states and countries and all that. I don't know why I said territories and states. They're all countries. I'm it's late at night.
Yes.
I'm kind of tired. It's fine. It's fine. But
Let me
yeah,
forget.
so everything from those countries and anything, in between, they are getting release dates as well. So
Okay.
that's really great. I know I'm excited for this. I was saying yesterday how excited I am for its limited theatrical release because for the first two dates, September 21st and 25th, for all you, well, pretty much probably all of our audience watching right now, is those are the two September dates are the dates that Fathom Events is going to be, premiering this film in theaters. Now, I'm
Mhm.
going to try and book me a ticket because I don't know, I always found Christopher Reeve's story to be very inspiring, and I think he is a man that deserves more than just his Superman prowess, even though that is the name of the film, even though there is a slash in between.
Connection. Yeah.
Um, I think it is a very inspiring story. What are your thoughts? Are you going to try and catch this in theaters? It does have a distribution thing with Max as well. Are you going to try and see it in theaters, see it on Max? What's your plan for this intriguing documentary that DC has planned
Yeah.
for the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it does have a limited release, so if I'm able to, depending on how busy my schedule gets, I might try and see it in theaters. Otherwise, it is good to know that it will be on Max, because I would love to check it out regardless, for sure. Um, Interestingly enough, I didn't know this until a couple years ago, but back where I'm from, originally
Mhm.
in Virginia, there's a small town called Culpeper,
Mm.
and I used to go hiking out there and stuff. But that's actually, I think, where Christopher Reeves was when he had his accident and
Mm.
fell off his horse, and then he went to the UVA Medical Center. So I never knew
Right.
how close it was to where I was from, but
Interesting.
and I find that really interesting. So it's got, I've got some connection a little bit
Some
there. And left,
connection.
yeah,
Yeah,
left just
that's great. That's
yeah,
interesting. I
pretty,
think I know a lot of people see this as like, I mean, it's sad that he's no longer with us, but I still think he made the most out of his, you know, his confines and his quadriplegia and all that. And I think this is just such a great story that needs to be told. His entire family's backing it. um this was made independently from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers had no hand in this until distribution. Warner Brothers, I believe, through DC Studios, through CNN Films and HBO documentary films, they all, combined, they decide everything under Warner Brothers, but those three specifically are going to be tackling this documentary distribution and all that. So I think that this is such a great story, and I think most definitely worthy of something to be talked about for all the people out there that are maybe feeling, that they're lesser or something like that. But you're really not lesser for, not having your legs, not having most of your body, because he managed to
yeah,
do so much with quote unquote so little, even though it's not really little at all.
right.
And as well as the fact, I mean, the Christopher Reeve and his wife Dana Reeve did so much for with the Christopher Reeve and Dana Reeve Foundation, which you can donate. By the way, I believe it's christopherreeve.org/donate if you would like to donate. They did so much for people struggling with that in terms of, physical therapy and like funding for, cures and stuff like that. So I think that that is, I don't know, just I hope that this documentary, even more so, like to the general populace, I know there's a lot of like fans and stuff that see that, but I hope that, like, and obviously people that are going through this sort of thing, I hope that this, gives them the story that they absolutely deserve. I mean, all their kids are in the documentary. Will, Matthew, and Alexandra, I believe all their names are. So yeah, I think I'm excited for this. I know I'm going to be a sobbing mess by the end of it,
I know.
and I mean, I'm going to take a while. Yes, you are too. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I was just shedding a few tears just from the trailer.
mhm,
It looks like a very good story
yeah,
to be told, and an
and
important
yeah,
one. It's mainly an
yeah.
important one.
And I
And
don't know. I
yeah,
think this
sure.
at
Please
this
do.
time too, we've gone through a lot
Mhm.
as human beings, the pandemic and all this, and also some pretty bad sequels as of late. So I'm just kind of excited to see a movie that's really going to hopefully bring some hope
Yeah,
and just really good feels. I think that's what
yeah,
a lot of people need right now. So I
yeah,
kind of feel like, as you said, not just for super fans, but just for like the general population, I think could get like a really heartwarming, inspiring story right now.
yeah, especially as someone, because it's one thing to, like, get a fictional character, but it's one thing to go, like, "No, a man did this, a real man went through
Yeah,
all of this and still
an
achieved
icon.
so
Yeah,
much." Yeah, exactly. He achieved so much with so little, quote unquote,
yeah,
"so little." We don't wanna demean any, people here who are
but
suffering through that, because 'cause you're not little. You're not little.
yeah.
You are grander than what you think you are.
And I also
Yeah.
too, like the timing after the Special Olympics as well. I feel like I don't know if they planned
Oh,
that
yeah, I
or
didn't even realize that. That's yeah,
kind
that's
of
great. I'm sure
kind
that wasn't on accident if that is
of
the
right.
case.
Marketing
Um,
never.
oh, yeah, of course. And then so, yeah, I think, so yes, for, just, quick reminder for any international, people going in, hey, we might have some people up north, 21st. So yeah, these are all the dates for anybody who's in these countries or in these, territories, British Isles, all of that. These are, everybody here. And to remind to our American viewers, September 21st and 25th, where Canada and Italy are getting it, we are getting them both days through Fathom events. So make sure to write that on your calendar, check to see, support this documentary, support, the greatness that was the man of Christopher Reeve and his legacy and his family. So I think that is, something to achieve. Now, we move on to still more Superman related things, not the real man, but the fictional man that Christopher Reeve played. A different version, of course. Superman and Lois did actually get their date moved. Now, I know it says on the thumbnail that it was delayed, but we got to have a little bit of clickbait, right? But in fact, it was not delayed. It was actually scooched back a little bit. In fact, it went back 10 days. Originally, it was supposed to premiere. It's 2-hour premiere. It's still a 2-hour premiere. It went from the 17th to the 7th. Now, the 17th, now I had a kind of a interesting theory about this. Now, if this is maybe it's something, maybe it isn't. I'm curious to know your thoughts about this. But originally, the season 4 was going to premiere on the 17th, which is a Thursday. Now, the other DC thing that's coming up soon is the Penguin. That's going to be showing up on September 19th, also a Thursday. And I'm going to take a wild guess. And since Penguin is still going to be, premiering all those days, it has an 8-episode, premiere. So it's probably going to clash a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. So I'm going to take a wild guess that CW didn't want to, combat with Penguin levels because HBO has the pedigree, has the prowess. They don't want to mess with that. So they're like, you know what? Let's back up Superman and Lois a little bit. So now it's going to be on, I don't know if it's going to permanently be on Mondays, but it's going to be on Mondays for its 10-episode final season. I'm curious to know your thoughts about that. Do you think I'm raving? Do you think I'm a raving lunatic, or do you think that has some merit, at least?
You're crazy, John. We can all acknowledge that.
I think craziness with everything else. I'm just curious with craziness in terms of this.
In this case, I think you might just be so crazy that it actually makes sense, because I agree that does seem like a very logical reason. I mean, two big DC kind of almost rivaling each other on the same night. I think that would be a big reason to want to separate them, because if people have to pick one over the other, as you said, I mean, and Penguin's getting, this is a lot of hype. Penguin is getting a lot of hype. So I think, people are probably going to opt over that one. And it's, probably in their best interest to try and get it on a different night. I think I had to push around maybe with some game shows.
Probably.
It sounded like to get that spot, but it'll probably be for the best, that if they can kind of get their own slot there and not compete.
Exactly. I think even though if you guys remember, Warner Brothers doesn't have a major stake in CW anymore. That's why like the Arrowverse kind of slowly died off. Warner Brothers sold off CW after David Zaslav came in. They were selling off anything and everything to get some of that money back. And I believe it's under the Nexstar Group Media, I believe it's called. I think they have a major stake in CW. Now, just because Warner Brothers doesn't have a major stake anymore, they just see it's like, all right, that's competition. They're still DC properties. We're still, business people that understand this type of shit. Let's move this. Kind of like how Batman vs. Superman was supposed to come out in, I think, April, and it was supposed to come out the same day as Civil War. And they're like, let's back it up a bit. So they're like, you know what? Healthy competition is good, but we don't want to take away our viewers, especially when CW is a smaller program, is a smaller network. Not a lot of people have been tuning in. This was a big gamble because it was a big moneymaker. They considered renewing Gotham Knights over this because it was much cheaper. So there is like a whole bunch of that. And they're like, you know what? Even though there's a small fan base for this show, let's try to move it away. So it'll be, I assume from now on, will be premiering on Mondays instead of Thursdays.
Probably stick to that.
For the rest of its run. Now, I'm still excited. I don't care. I love this show. I think it is such a terrific show. I'm going to be, don't worry. And instead of on Thursdays, on Mondays, we are going to be reviewing episodes because once once Kite-Man is finished, which we will be getting to soon enough, we are
Yep.
going to be then talking about Penguin very soon, and then we are going to be getting into obviously this. So we're going to be getting, two major TV shows going around at the same time. So you guys are going to
Yeah.
be getting tons and tons of
Yeah.
weekly content from DCU Daily, because we're going to be taking care of you. We're going to be taking care of you guys. We got a lot of, and then we're going to be, reviewing Joker. We're going to be, reviewing Creature Commandos when that comes out.
Yeah.
Not reviewing Harley Quinn, because fuck that show. We're not reviewing that crap. But we are reviewing like good, much better content. But speaking of, in terms of reviewing stuff, let's get to the real cream of the crop here. I almost said cream of the crap. No, where it's not crap. It's
Not
beautiful. It's Kite-Man. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. So let's talk Kite-Man. I thought this was such a great episode. I thought after we had an episode that was mainly about Golden Glider last week, saving Kite-Man, now we have Kite-Man saving Golden Glider. And I thought that was so nice. Again,
Yeah.
proving that this show understands characterization and good writing, unlike Cape Crusader. And then, like why this show works so much is that core. I keep saying that every week. I know people are probably sick of me saying it, but that's okay. So I love this episode. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this episode. What were your thoughts on this episode? Because I've been raving like a lunatic too much this DCU Daily episode. So please talk. Please talk.
Yes. I almost didn't really. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I feel like I don't really have a formed opinion, like whether I thought this was good or bad. I feel like there was parts I liked, but you know what I think? I feel like it ended, and I kind of wish it had like another 10 minutes. Maybe I just loved it so much. Like I wanted it to keep going, and I was like, oh my gosh, it went so fast. Like I think so much happened in this episode, and I won't lie, I did feel like, spoiler, the little Goldilocks part was a little random. But besides that, I think, yeah, I was, I picked up on that too, the whole relationship switch, and because I kind of mentioned it there at the end as well. And I mean, actually, there were some parts, I was like audibly laughing
right
at some of the jokes. They're pretty funny in this one. So yeah, I think it was pretty good, and it made sense from the last episode, and then you can see that I love that, like the very end when they're like, I forget what to say, but like, oh shit, that's even after all that, it still didn't work.
I mean, anti-life equation is an insane power.
Yeah.
It's like it's most powerful. Yeah, because when they tossed it in the nuclear reactor, I'm like, that's not gonna do fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like this is like an otherworldly weapon, fucking that can kill universes type shit. That ain't a nuclear reactor ain't gonna do anything. So I'm curious with what they're gonna do next episode. But I understand why they didn't have it, be an extra 10 minutes. I get it, because they want to stretch this out for as long as they can. They have 10 episodes to do, so I understand that they want to keep people watching, get like they got to have those cliffhangers, and I understand that. But I will say I actually didn't mind the Goldilocks stuff. I thought it was really cute. I mean, I understand that they were trying to go for like an annoying character, like the typical Goldilocks thing. This is too hot. This is too cold. This is too soft. This is too.
It was funny the last time it was
typical. And then you had fucking just Villigan and Lex Luthor just shut the fuck up, you little shit. But even then, I thought she was really cute. She was so cute. Like whenever they knew how to fucking draw this character. They knew they had to make her the absolute cutest they could possibly make her. So whenever she looked up at Bane and she was like, hey, and then I'm like, fuck, you are so fucking adorable. God damn it. No wonder Bane likes you so much. And it was really cute. So I actually really, I did prefer the Golden Glider Kite-Man stuff, because again, it showcased why that relationship works, but I really like the Goldilocks stuff too. I thought it was really cute.
I almost wonder, for me, it was because earlier in the season we had that other little, I forget their name now, that little doll girl who was actually a 40-year-old woman,
Baby doll. Yes,
Baby doll. I think when I saw Goldilocks, I was like, is she going to be just like Baby doll? Is she going to be like secretly evil and like something terrible is going to happen. I think that's what my brain was going to. So I didn't like, I was like, she's not cute. She's like, I don't know. I was like, there's got to be some ulterior motive here. I think that's what I was probably thinking. But no, I did love at the very end. I mean, that was my favorite line that she said when she's like, Bane, you're just right. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what that
Okay,
is.
that's really fucking cute. God damn it.
I mean, I don't know if she's going to be in the next episode, but I would love to.
I don't know. I kind of hope so. Like, I'll fucking
If it,
take her over Queen of Fables.
yeah, I think so true. I think if they expand on that more, then maybe I'll warm up to it, I think. So we'll see. We'll see next week how that turns out.
Yeah, I think this is just has been like um a very endearing sort of episode, I think, because it's just like even with Golden Glider going crazy and all this other stuff, it shows like even though Kite-Man is technically a villain, he is a villain. He's a super villain. He's, Kite-Man. But like I think like it's still like his greatest like even though they said it as a joke, I think it was like 2 episodes ago, my greatest power is my kindness. They're like, no, shut the fuck up. It's like, no, but it really is though. That's what it is. Your kindness is your greatest asset. So I think he's right in that. That's just my opinion, but
I
I'm
mean,
curious what you think.
yeah, there was that one part where he was with the, okay, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting everybody's names in this, but the plant guy, and they're sitting at the bar
Frank,
drinking.
yeah.
Frank?
Yes, Frank was his name. The
And
plant? Yeah.
yes, and there's it's revealing all the information about the anti-life equation, and then he's like, oh yeah, like you can see like all the villains want that, and like that would be so great for villains to have. And in that moment, first like for a second, my brain was like, I think my brain was like, wait, oh yeah, they're villains. And like for a quick second, you forget that. Actually, I think this Kite-Man is just so like genuine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I of course he's just a great character. And their relationship is great too. So
Yeah, I think Matt Oberg and Stephanie Shu do a great job. Although going back a little bit, just a quick detour, Caleb Richardson was saying something about CW because I wasn't sure. Yeah, the CW was owned 50-50 between Warner Brothers and Paramount. Warner Brothers and Paramount now own 12.5 each, with Nexstar owning 75. And then you continued. Apparently, Nexstar has the option in 2025 to buy Warner Brothers and Paramount shares and gain 100% control of the CW. Hope that works out for well. Them, they're taking a risk on network TV in the internet age. Yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting sort of thing. I mean, I would assume WB would probably sell it off. They need all the money they can get, considering they're like in massive amounts of debt, and who knows if like any of their future movies soon, even Superman, are going to make that much money. But I mean, I want WB to succeed, but I also don't want them. I want the DC part. I want like James Gunn stuff to succeed. I want everything else, and Dune Messiah. Those are the only two things. Everything else WB can fuck off. Like, because Zaslav's a moron.
They still on Scooby-Doo.
Well, I mean, after what they did with Velma, honestly, Warner Brothers needs to sell off Scooby-Doo to someone who actually understands the character, and then we'll get something halfway decent. But yeah, I think that this was, probably good from Warner Brothers. But even then, like, good on Nexstar for them to like, hey, let's not, even though it's still not a competitor, it still kind of is. But I'm sure like a company that owns 12.5 of shares of another company, they don't have a lot to say. Nexstar does. So I think the Nexstar was probably to like WB like, hey, you're having this other show that's on HBO. Let's not have competition, even though, it's the same thing. Let's get away from that. So they're getting away from that. I think that was a good move from their part. And I don't know. I mean, I wish the best for Nexstar, but like CW has always been kind of a channel that's never been the best, like ever since it merged with, I believe it was UPN. That's where the, why Warner Brothers and Paramount own them, because Paramount owned UPN and then the Warner Brothers owned the WB. That's what Smallville, Supernatural, all those shows started off on. And then they moved to the CW. And then, so I think, I think that that was a good move, and I wish the best for both shows because I'm excited for both shows and I want them to succeed. Speaking of shows I want to succeed, go watch Kite-Man, guys. It's on
Yeah,
Max right
you're missing
now.
out if you're not.
It's,
It's so funny.
8 episodes. They're like 25 minutes. It'll take you 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. It should take you 4 hours, maybe like 3.5 hours, depending, to catch up. It's like a
Yeah.
day. It's like you can binge it in a day, like
And
it'll
you're gonna
be,
find yourself wishing it was longer.
yeah,
Honestly, it's so
yeah.
good.
Honestly, it's probably best that you binge it because,
Mhm. Yeah,
because it feels like one long story rather
movie.
than, episodic stuff. Because there's a lot of cliffhangers. I will say, as much as I love the show, I definitely agree with you there. There was a lot of cliffhangers to the point of like it's a little annoying. I get it, as I was saying before. I understand why. I just wish it wasn't so annoying. Maybe that's a good thing because like it leaves me wanting more because I love it so much, but
Yeah,
at the
it makes
same
the whole thing
time, there needs to be a good balance. And I'm like, at least
Mhm.
have some sort of closure per episode and not just totally leave us hanging. Because when I'm not gonna lie, with thinking back now, like really remembering when I was watching the episode, even when I was watching it, I was a little taken aback because I usually watch it on my computer, but I was downstairs, so I was like, let me watch it on my TV. So I was watching it, I was really getting into it, and then when it finally ended, and I was like, oh, yeah, it ended. So one, the 20 minutes went by really quickly, and two, I was like, oh yeah,
Uh,
it ended. Oh,
I wish it
okay, yeah,
was
sure.
30 minutes. I wish it was like a 30-minute episode just to like sink your
Because
teeth
yeah,
in that.
because it's technically 23 minutes.
Mm, That's nothing.
Lame.
That's like I would like stare into space for 20 minutes and then 20 minutes flies by, so it's really nothing.
Yeah, I think I think but yeah, guys, please watch the show. Please support it because it's like this is one of the few like good things that WB has
Yeah,
been,
like it's a hidden
doing.
treasure.
It
It
really
really
is. It's an underrated gem. I know that like, the other major thing is like, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just I know like it's silly and weird, but it's like because I know like they have like other pedigree, like they have the Superman and Lois, they have Penguin, they have all that, and I think that does mean something. Not gonna lie, that does mean something. But I think because then if this doesn't do well, I know this might be like going really crazy with it. Um, I know this is like a little bit of an insane theory, but like if these shows do well with weirder characters like Kite Man, then they'll be more open to doing, weirder characters that don't get a lot of spotlight and then like fan favorite characters like,
yeah.
Batman Beyond. That's WB for some reason fucking hates the idea of having a Batman Beyond movie, live action or animated. And it's like, guys, show them that we love this. So like, please watch Kite Man.
Yes.
But we,
It's
yes.
just so it's different than like anything else out there. And just to leave you with like a little taste, one of my favorite quotes from this episode, I don't know why I loved it. When he's like trying to rhyme with nuclear power plant, and then he's like nuclear sour chant. I don't know why. I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So if that's your type of humor,
Yeah,
just
like
the chant.
it's a very silly show. It's a very goofy show. It's like
It's
turn your brain
funny.
off 20 minutes, boom, there you go. But we have been, we have been getting comments. Caleb Richardson has been blowing up the chat. Thank you for your comments, Caleb. But he was also saying, in terms of me selling off Scooby Doo, DreamWorks, let Universal buy Scooby Doo. I would shell out so much money for DreamWorks. Scooby-Doo. Yeah, honestly, I feel
Honestly,
like they
yeah,
do.
that's actually a
Even though
good idea.
they've been in with WB for the longest time, yeah, I would say fuck it, do it. Let's
Try
get
something new
some,
with Scooby Doo.
yeah,
Yeah,
especially after Velma. Ugh. Did you ever watch Velma, or were you like, no, hell no?
I didn't. That was a show. I actually didn't even hear about it.
Yeah, good. Don't research it. Don't look into it. Just ignore it completely. I didn't even say anything. What did I say anyway? Lenny,
Missed it.
you were saying how the Flash won't be part of the. I think you meant DCU. You said GCU. Is that true? I don't know. I didn't hear about it until you just said it. So Caleb did mention something, how he was like, I could see them taking a break from the Flash for the time being. The dude was on TV for 10 years and he was in 4 movies in that time as well. Let the character breathe for a bit. I would say yes and no. Caleb, yes and no. I would say let Barry Allen breathe. Bring in Wally West, guys. Wally West is the best Flash anyway, so like bring him back in. Nobody gives a fuck about Barry was fucking dead for 23 years in the comics. Wally was the Flash that like this entire generation grew up with, like mainly millennials and maybe some like younger Gen X, older Gen Z. I mean, Wally West was, he was in the comics in the 90s. He was on the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited animated series. People love Wally West. Like, I understand they had like Keenan Lonsdale in the show. He was barely Wally West. He was barely in the show. They didn't know what to do with him. Bring back Wally West. People love him. Just get rid of, just don't have Barry Allen. Like it's perfect. It's literally the stars align when it comes to this character, because Ezra Miller has the baggage, unfortunately, due to what they did, because they're a fucking asshole. And then you have, so his like Barry Allen, and then like clearly have like a different suit, like, oh, this is Wally West, different character. Barry Allen is, they can either dead, he's in Central City and it takes place in Keystone. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Just say, bring in Wally. You could be like, Barry Allen's dead, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just bring in Wally West. I would say that's the perfect way to do it. Perfect way to do it. But yeah, I just love Wally West majorly. But that's,
Really?
Yeah. I can tell. But I mean, I love I love Jay Garrick. I love Barry Allen. I love all 3. I know there's other Flashes, but who gives a fuck? I mean, like you had like John Fox, Flash of the 25th Century. You have Impulse. You have Bart Allen. So yeah, I think
got a lot to choose from.
Yeah, I got a lot to choose from, and you know what? I just think it just makes sense. Obviously, it's WB, so they won't go with something that actually makes sense, and it'll make them print money. They'll do something stupid. So, that's just, it just seems like their bread and butter at this point. But before, we end our little, let's end my little rant. Let's move on to fan comments, because we had a ton. We were talking a lot with you guys yesterday on a lot of different topics. So we're like, okay, let's save the fan comments we had yesterday for today. So we have 4 for you today. So obviously the first one we have for you was in reference to nothing DC related, but it does have, but we are going from one fast character with the Flash to another. Talk about Sonic. And we were talking about how the Watcher 9500, who is a regular, they were saying how the Sonic 3 trailer is amazing, loved it, it was worth the wait. I agree. I think we got a lot of great things from that trailer. We got we got Fat Robotnik, the Egg and Eggman is coming through. We had Jim Carrey as his own grandpa. We heard and saw Keanu Reeves as Shadow, setting up this character properly. Getting true villain. We get Tails, Knuckles, and Sonic kicking ass together. We had more Gunn stuff. We had more Agent Stone. So it was a little bit of greatness from everything. Curious how, in terms of Sonic, have you seen the previous 2 movies, and are you excited for, or just going to be seeing this? I have to, and I'm going to see it anyway. Or are you actually excited for Sonic?
No, I did see the first one. I actually don't know if I saw the second. I cannot remember these things. I might have just seen the first twice. But no, I love Sonic. I loved the games growing up. I loved watching my brother play them for hours. And he wouldn't let me play, but I would watch him. And
as brothers do. I would know. I'm a brother.
Vicariously play through him. But yes, I did see the trailer, and I also think it looked like really kick-ass. So I am very excited. I do want to see it, and I will watch the second, so that way I know what the heck is going on.
Yes. We also have, the Knuckles show. I don't think you have to, watch the Knuckles show. It was kind of like a little bit of a side tangent a little bit. Yeah. But it was still a good show. I recommend it. It's one of those like kind of like Kite-Man things where it's like, it's silly, goofy. It's more so meant for kids than even more
Right.
so than the Sonic movies. But yeah, I can't wait for the next Sonic movie, because I remember a buddy of mine who's a huge Sonic fan. He's been
Mhm.
like, "Why the fuck haven't we gotten this goddamn trailer?" Like he would like constantly, every time there was a rumor like that the Sonic 3 trailer was coming out, which came out like 6 times throughout this entire year. He's like, "I'm not gonna believe it. I will fucking believe it when I see it."
I
And
see
so
it.
we were all
Yeah.
like, we when the fucking trailer finally was announced, he's like, "I don't believe it," and we're like, "Okay," but it was officially confirmed.
Mhm.
He's like, "I don't believe it," and then we sent him with like, "Here's the fucking trailer. It's happened." He's like, "Oh my god, it looks so great." So I'm excited for. I'm like, I just wanted him to see, because he's like, "I bet this movie is delayed. I'm gonna be pissed." All this other shit, but
Yeah.
we finally got the trailer. I think they did release it at a good time. It's 4
Mhm.
months out. People will remember it more so, especially if now we're going to start getting into the theater circuit. So I
Yeah.
think we got it at a good time, because I remember Dan saying when we got the Fall Guy trailer back in like January, and which was kind of an iffy, because then it got delayed to May. So then people kind of forgot about it, and then it kind of didn't get a lot of box office. So we don't want that to happen with Sonic. Although I think Sonic has a little bit more, pedigree than say the Fall Guy.
All
It's a
right.
sequel, and Sonic is huge, and the two previous movies were beloved. So you
Yeah.
have all that. And
Coming out, the Christmas season when
yeah,
like the biggest movies come out. So
yeah.
I think it goes to show.
I can't wait for this movie to fucking crush Mufasa, because fuck that movie. But I can't wait, because this movie looks great, and I'm super stoked for it. But moving on to, other comments. This was Jay Kells. He was saying Mangold is he was talking I was talking about James Mangold and how he did a lot of questionable stuff on Twitter in the prior to and after he released Dial of Destiny. And he was saying Mangold is guilty for being human. We got to get out of this cancel culture made up world that the media and internet created. People make mistakes. Dude's feelings were hurt, and he trolled his trollers. Life goes on. I won't mind Mangold and Flanagan. However, I think Clayface would be a terrible idea for a movie. That is a character that a TV series makes more sense, in my opinion. I'm curious how your idea works. I want to get first off, I understand James Mangold. Now, I'm not saying he's irredeemable. He should be canceled, but it just felt very off that like people were like giving like constructive criticism, and then he was giving the typical like toxic fandom criticism. I feel like that a lot of people have been, you know, giving in this day and age, like, oh, they don't like our show, so we're just gonna tell them that they're all, toxic. And I don't think that's fair. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm really excited for Swamp Thing. I think he will do a good job with it, and I think, he will offer something very interesting with that. He hasn't really done anything like horror related like Swamp Thing, so I think he would do a good job with it. It's just like it's still a little off that your director still has like a bitch fit on Twitter when people are giving constructive yeah, sure, there's some assholes, but I feel like he was just being really whiny, and he was being very juvenile about it. And I
Mhm.
think that's kind of like it as I said, it's not bad. It's very unprofessional. And especially you know, when John Williams said, like, "Hey, this movie," it's like, okay, if you want to like troll your trollers, fine. Like, okay, I don't agree with it, because a lot of the quote unquote trolls weren't actually trolls. But
Mhm.
then when your composer on your movie, who is a legend, who has done this series since the beginning, who has done like every great franchise since the 70s, and hell, even earlier than that, and you're kind of throwing him under the bus because you don't want to admit that you had reshoots, because your movie was reshot a bunch of times because the test screenings were bad. It's like this guy was clearly like felt insecure that he'd made a crappy movie, and then he, threw his composer under the bus when he was stating facts. So that's the thing that irked me personally. I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew about this, but that's how
much.
I felt personally.
Yeah, I don't know much of the details, so I can't really say too much on it, but I
Mhm.
get what I can gonna get the gist, I think, of what you're saying. And I know what you mean. It's almost like the way that, like, I mean, this is more extreme, but like, you know, the way Trump takes to Twitter. And I feel like that's just become more normal now for people to really express all their feelings, the good days and the bad days. And I think it's, unfortunately, the internet is permanent. And once it's out there, it's out there. So, you know, I think, and it's hard too because, you know, any subtext is really lost in translation. So you can say things and it can still be misconstrued or taken a different way. And I don't know. I do think you do have to be a little extra cautious. And at the same time, you're right. Him just saying that kind of stuff, I do feel bad for his composer then, and how that affects him. You know, hearing, oh my gosh, now he's blaming me for all of this, and that's just a real
Yeah.
shame. When you kind of
Yeah.
turn against your own people.
Yeah, that's just not cool. But although quick thing, people have been, somebody Caleb, thank you again. You're blowing up the chat. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Caleb, keep blowing up the chat. We love you. Lenny Solon, Mark Markotna, he said eggy boy when I was mentioned, Eggman. Lenny was talking about how Kevin Feige is overrated. Josh also, I forgot to mention. Yes, hello Josh. Thank you for he said we're definitely getting Kite-Man in the DCU. I would hope so. Played by Matt Oberg or Mark Normand. I mentioned Mark Normand yesterday. He would be amazing as Kite-Man. But anyways, so Caleb Richardson asks the question, was the premiere confirmed to be a full 2 hours? Or is it like the season 1 premiere and the episode was an hour and 20 minutes and the remaining 40 minutes was a behind-the-scenes documentary? I don't know, actually. I would hope that since it's the final season, we get a full 2 hours. But I would imagine plus commercials, it's probably going to be more 90 minutes to hour 40 if I were to guess. If it is a full thing, but I mean, I wouldn't mind behind the scenes documentary. Behind the scenes documentary is fucking cool. So, but I hope it is a full 2 hours, or at least full 2 hours with commercials. Let's go with that. So, if I were to take a guess, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, it's 2 hours without commercials, and the whole thing is actually going to be 2.5 hours is the time slot. I don't think that's the case. If I were to guess, 2 hour time slot, going to be around 90 minutes to 100 minutes. So that's what I hope we get. Even if we get behind the scenes, that would be cool. But I'm expecting a lot of great things for Superman and Lois season 4, the final season, which is now premiering October 7th on Monday. I don't know if you missed that. Maybe you came in late, but October 7th on Monday is now going to be Superman and Lois 2 hour premiere instead of the 17th. So cross the original date off your calendar, put on the new one, and get pumped for that. So now we move. Oh, and another thing I want to address about this comment, Clayface having a TV series. I'm really curious. I don't know how that would work. The only way I could see that working is if they bring in every single Clayface, because there's been like 7 in the comics. There's been a ton. So there's like Basil Carlo, Matt Hagen, Lady Clayface, something Payne, I think, and then there's been a whole bunch. There's been like 7 of them. So I'm like, if that's what you're going for, then fine. I can't imagine a Clayface TV, maybe a mini series. I don't know about a TV series. So Jake Kells, you don't really seem to catch us live that much, which is fine. But please leave a comment on what your idea for a Clayface TV show would be, because I can't imagine something like that. But maybe you mean in like, oh, if Flanagan is doing it, he's usually better on TV. If that's the case, then I agree with you there. I don't know how you would make that work, but anyway, please let us know. Or hell, anyone who isn't Jake Hells, please let us know in the comments how they could,
make this possible.
Make it work. Caleb Richardson said they could pull off a Dark Man, get a new actor to play Clayface in each episode. That would be kind of funny. Like they kind of do like an Incredible Hulk thing where he's like trying to find a cure and he's going across the United States, so he has to, but he's being on the run so he has to like become a new person each episode. That could be kind of funny, but I think that would be
Yeah.
very expensive. But yeah, I think everyone, Listerine 5, Gunn's vision for the DC universe is getting very blurry. He said our show is awesome. Thank you, sir or madam, or anything
You
in
are
between.
right.
You rock. But Gunn's vision for the DC universe is getting very blurry. I'm curious what you mean by that. Please leave another comment. Because that's an I personally, I don't think so, but I'm curious as to you would know why. But before this goes on too long, let's get to our next comment. Somebody says, so JB, who is another regular who I believe is not on right now.
Justin Bieber.
I did some digging to try and find more about that Black Superman t-shirt David Cornswood is wearing. There are some small words for graphics printed on the shirt. I did see that. I didn't see what it was, but you could see on the sleeve there. You could see that there is some sort of like lettering there. If you zoom in on the main logo, you can see the writing below it says stunt department. So I'm assuming this shirt is for cast and crew only, not yet for sale to the public. So I think it's just like a cool cast shirt. Like as we all know, we cast and crew get like jackets, t-shirts, hats,
little gifts,
like faux props that are like, attached to the movie. Like maybe they get like a, like a magnet or like a pin with the Superman logo or something like that. So that makes sense. When I was looking at it, I'm like, I did notice the lettering. I forgot to mention that. I did notice the lettering. I'm like, that's probably not anything major. But yeah, I'm still looking at that website. I think it's still sold out. It's been a while since I checked, but I'm gonna try and get myself a goddamn shirt. I have a big belly, so they do actually have my size. So I want to try and get one because they actually, have something for me. But
that's your DCU Daily uniform.
Yes. Although I gotta remember to clean it because I'm not good about remembering to clean things. Anyway, let's go on to the next final comment. Oh my god, yes. We were talking about how James Gunn should be Mr. Mxyzptlk or Batm Might. I know it will never happen, but imagine he shows up in the Batman Part 2, snaps his fingers, and boom, now he's in the DCU. I don't think that would happen, JB. That would be very funny, but I don't think that would happen. I think they are very clear that they want to, do their own vision for the DCU versus Matt Reeves' vision for his, the Batman epic crime saga. I'm curious, are you aware of the character of Batm Might or Mxyzptlk or anything of the sort? Or
me? No, let me look it up.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, this has been a good episode. And I think this is I think that would be a really funny idea. Like genuinely. I think that would be thank you, Kate.
It's a mini Batman.
Kind of. He is an imp from the fifth dimension. Where he is Batman's biggest fan. And he it is, yeah, I mean, but he's also like has unimaginable power, so he can like fuck with stuff. Imagine like Deadpool with omnipotent Dr. Manhattan powers. Imagine that. That's essentially Batm Might and Mxyzptlk in a more so. Batm Might is more so the fan, while Mxyzptlk just likes to fuck with people. But yeah, he's a funny character, and I think James Gunn is kind of a funny looking guy, so I think that could work. But Caleb Richardson said DC Merch Shop is currently running a summer sale, 75% off select items. So I'm gonna fucking run to the DC Merch Shop to hopefully, get some get me a shirt, maybe get me a hat. But I think that wraps up the show for today. But yes, thanks for watching, everybody. I wish I could have gotten, a little bit better with your comments today.
Appreciate every single one of them.
Yes. Lenny was saying how much they love Batm Might and I hope we get Kryptonian language in the DCU. But yes, anyway, Listerine, Lenny, Caleb, Josh, Mortana, you guys have been fantastic. Thank you for watching, as it says on the bottom right there. Thank you for watching. But yes, no Kite-Man until next week. But recap, we did get more Superman release dates for international release dates for the Christopher Reeve documentary. So if you're overseas, check those out. It's on DC Film Threads, or you could just rewind. And then Superman and Lois, October 7th, not October 17th. And then we also review Kite-Man, another banger in this great show, how much we loved it, how funny it was, how great it
Only two
was. So
episodes left.
I know it's only 2 episodes left, guys. Come on. We gotta, binge it, please. It's only about like 4, maybe 3.5, 4 hours. So do it. But yes, so please, we ask you oh so kindly to like and subscribe because we got to get that YouTube algorithm. We gotta gotta be mindful of that.
And also, how can you not like and subscribe to this?
Yeah, I mean this is great stuff. I know it's mostly me and Dan. I know that's not aesthetically pleasing, but we had Bridget here, so that was hopefully better for everyone else here. But as well as the fact that, guys, we still get comments and be like, hey, when are you guys going live? I know we have an erratic schedule. We apologize for that. It's only when we can show up. We have busy schedules. We have normal lives outside of this. I know that's crazy to see, but
we are not all Superman ourselves.
I know, but that's okay. But click the notification bell because we are trying our best to have a proper schedule, but sometimes it doesn't work, and so click on that, then you'll know when we go live. So please click that. But thank you for watching. You guys have been great. I shouted out everybody who I possibly could. You guys have been fantastic. So see y'all tomorrow with another DCU Daily.